Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. We're going to do a martial art chit chat. And we're going to do live on TikTok. Hopefully, this will work. So, yeah. Alright, it's almost working. The TikTok part's a little off. Okay, so I'm on Kung Fu Havoc number 2 on my left, and Chit Chat, you're on my right. So, goddamn. TikTok, you're on my right. First, I just blew my nose, so let's hope that my nose is clean. So, I want to piggyback off of a fellow martial artist that came across my FYP. I tell you guys to go follow him. I can't pronounce his name right now because I'm already live and I don't have time to go looking for his name, but you guys should follow him. He does good shit. So, he mentioned about like top martial arts for street fighting and stuff. And I agreed with his list. Maybe not the order of his list, which I wasn't paying attention because after watching it the second or the third or the fourth time, he does say in no particular order. So that's on me. But I want to talk about old school jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I want to try to keep it on old school jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Now, I want y'all to understand there is a difference. Because you can do old school jiu-jitsu on the ground and on your feet. I was not taught on my feet. Shit. I was not taught on the ground. Got that mixed up. I was taught on the ground when I learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was in the Army. But all the Jiu-Jitsu I learned in the 80s, 90s era, we never went on the ground. Because at the same time I was learning Judo, I was learning Jiu-Jitsu. And I could be wrong, and I said it in one of these videos that I was taught that Jiu-Jitsu was an offsite of Judo. And again, I say this one more time, I can be wrong, but that's what I was taught. So I don't really know anymore which one came first because I'm 48 and the shit doesn't really matter if Judo or Jiu-Jitsu came first. But Judo, for those who haven't taken Judo, Judo is the art for little guys like me to throw around really big guys, alright? Where I learned how to use basically the reverse polarity or their own momentum against them. And I've learned how to shoulder throw, hip toss, a lot of other stuff that you see a lot of wrestlers do, where you grab and you throw, you grab and you trip. And with Jiu-Jitsu, I learned that you can use some knees while you're grabbing and throwing. You can use some arm locks while you're grabbing, locking, and then throwing or pushing or moving. And for some reason, I am off site on TikTok. Still, it's crooked. There's something wrong with my stand. It's probably broken. Anyway, I have another one. I'm just not going to go get it. Anyway, when I learned Jiu-Jitsu, I learned it standing on my feet. I learned it, one, if you can get behind someone, rear naked choke's an easy tap. I learned that if you can lock somebody's arm behind their back, or you can twist it and get it up here and make this part of their hand touch up here, then you're doing some shit. Now, when I started learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I learned from side mount or top guard, kind of both. I learned how to get thrown off of people. I learned how to attempt to throw people off of me. Now, let me explain that really fucking quickly, because a lot of people don't understand it. There is a big difference between your partner allowing you to do shit versus you actually being able to do shit. Don't make that mistake of thinking because your partner, who's 300 plus pounds, allowed you to roll him off you or throw you off of him, especially when you're a $125 like me, you're not going to outmuscle nobody. Not on the ground. You're not going to outmuscle anybody. You might outsquirm them, depending on gi or no gi. We trained in military ACU, so there was no training in the ACU. We trained in the ACUs. So outside of that, in the real situation, my my TikTok's freezing, so this isn't gonna work really long for TikTok. I apologize. Anything, if this dies, you can go to Kung Fu Havoc number 2 to catch what you missed. I actually started recording a Kung Fu Havoc number 2 first. So let's continue. If your partner is a good partner, and for training purposes, they let you go through the motion. Because when I was in the Army, my partner was 300 pounds, and he let me go through the motion because I could not outmuscle this fucker. When he had me on top mount, when he was sitting and he had my shit, and I had to go across both his arms and grab his fucking arm and then try to roll him, he won't move it. Let's put it this way. Honest to God, he won't move it. He was 300 pounds, I was a buck 30. I won't move in this fucker. I won't move in him. He allowed me to go through the motions because the drill sergeants told us that this shit's supposed to work. Alright? Now he dropped dead weight on me. I won't roll in his big ass. I.e., that's why I headbutted him in his fucking testicles, because I couldn't move him. You know? But I've also learned from a lot of street fights that if you can't beat somebody from the ground, then you need to be able to get into their ass. You know, and you need to be able to get into their ass from ground level. You know, hopefully this might work. I'm sorry, I'm trying to invite y'all in, but I'm stupid with technology. Okay, it's not working. I apologize. Uh-oh. What the fuck is that? I don't know what that is. I am not touching that. I do not know what that is. Hello, dear friend. I got one person. Thank God. At least that part worked. Anyhow, if your partner in training is allowing you to go through the motions, understand that that's going through the motions, and that is not exactly real. It's just going through the motions. If you are in a real fight, a real person is not going to allow you to go through the motions, because they are going to hold you down as best they can, and they'll probably drop a couple of fists to your face. So understand, there's a difference when you are training and real life. And I learned in the Army, my partner really was just going through the motions so the drill sergeants wouldn't keep giving us problems. And also, he got tired of getting hit in the nuts with my forehead because I couldn't move him. So I slid my hand under his ass and slammed my head into his shit. While he's holding me here, I had enough room that I could come through. So learning to be well-rounded does help you in martial arts. Now, when you are training, your partner does allow you to go through motions. It also depends on what martial art you are training in. For BJJ purposes, you are being allowed to go through the motions. However, if you go watch a lot of BJJ videos, you never see people use other body parts when someone is on top of them or when they are on someone else. You see them put somebody in an arm bar where their legs go here and go across your chest, and you see them do that. But while they're doing that, what they don't teach you is what I say they should be teaching you, which is when they lock their arms like this and you're trying to get their arm, they should be busting you up. 1 second. Yeah, how about you cut that out a little bit? And don't lock me out. Any freaking how, sorry about that. And I lost my guest. Please feel free to come back. This is a total martial art thing. We can do native stuff later. But if my phone doesn't die. When you are being taught a martial art, first thing you need to know is that your teacher needs to invest in you as much as you invest your wallet in him. Alright? Or her, whoever's teaching you. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of teachers might be very good, but are more about money versus teaching you. Now, I talked to my cousin yesterday about this shit, or Sunday, because today is Tuesday. I've had a really rough Monday. But if you are being taught properly and you are failing, that teacher needs to invest more time in you. Pull you off to the side, maybe have you come in early so they can get you up to speed with other teachers. When I was learning jiu-jitsu, that wasn't a problem. No, but jiu-jitsu was fairly easy versus Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which was not. Brazilian jiu-jitsu for me was a pain in the ass. I learned more weaknesses from the art than I learned more strengths, okay? So that's why I said when your training partner allows you to go through the motions, it's a different ball game than when you were actually involved in jiu-jitsu. Because when you are doing jiu-jitsu, there will be a difference. Where when you are doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're on the ground already. So it's not going to be that difficult to roll with somebody. When you are doing regular jiu-jitsu, depending on what you were taught, because I was taught on my feet how to get somebody get behind them, put in the arm bar, and it's either the Uganagi or the Fujiwara. I can't remember, but either way, there's also the chicken wing where their arm is like this, your arm is between here, and you're pushing up, and your arm pushing their arm against your back. So, again, you can put moves with arm bars and stuff while you're standing if you were taught the 80s jiu-jitsu that I was taught. Now, as jiu-jitsu evolved and became a sport, just like judo has become a sport, just like Brazilian jiu-jitsu become a sport, they don't have the essence as much as they did before it was a sport. All right, so once a martial art becomes a sport, it becomes less of a martial art and more of a commodity of sport. Kung Fu technically isn't a sport, but Wushu is an offset of Kung Fu, and Wushu is now a sport. If it hasn't been a sport, it is more like, I guess, sport art, because you now, when you see Wushu contests, you basically see hellacious fight scenes, but you no longer learn the art of Wushu for what it was before it became a sport. All right, before it became like one of the baddest things you'll ever see in an additional thing. Hello there, Brianna. I gotta get you to 1,000. Anybody here watching, follow Brianna Spears ASAP. Period. Because she's also a martial artist, and I would love to have her in my live when I do martial arts stuff. If you're going to learn, like, all right, we'll go to Taekwondo. Sorry, Brianna, I know you do Taekwondo, so we're gonna go to Taekwondo. When Taekwondo became a sport, it made people want to come do more Taekwondo, and we owe that a lot to Herb Perez. We owe it a lot to Philip Reed. For those who have no idea who the hell Herb Perez is or Philip Reed, Herb Perez, WMAC Masters, go watch it. They should all be on DVD now. Might be able to find it on Netflix, might be able to find it on Amazon, but it's spelled like this, WMAC, period behind the W, behind the M, the AC, because it means World Martial Arts Council. Go watch it. It was a TV show, early 90s. If I'm correct, early 90s. It was hosted by Shannon Lee, the daughter of Bruce Lee. It had a fuck ton of martial artists. It had martial arts from all over the world, with the exception of Filipino martial arts. If it had Filipino martial arts, I missed that episode, but you can go find it. If you follow Mike Chat on Facebook, he came from there, and he was also the Blue Lightspeed Power Ranger, but initially he was on WMAC, okay? So, and he had long hair. And if you follow Larry Lamb, Larry, shout out to Larry Lamb. He's a badass. Don't fuck with Larry Lamb. He also came from WMAC. Now, for Taekwondo, again, Olympus, Herb Perez, still doing his thing. MAC, WMAC Masters. And then if you want to have a more reference for Philip Reed did these sets of movies called Best of the Best. All three of them, maybe it's 4 of them now. You should go check those movies out so you'll have reference of Taekwondo. Because in Best of the Best, they were on the Taekwondo Olympic team. I think it was Taekwondo. Eric Roberts is also in at least 2 of those movies. So you should go check out Best of the Best, and you should check out WMC Masters, because those 2 gentlemen are some of the people who introduced the world to Taekwondo. Alright? And if you want to have other, I guess you can put them in there, Brian Genesis from Street Justice, and Billy Worth from Acapulco Heat. That's how I learned my tornado kick. Well, my reverse tornado kick. I learned my tornado kick from fucking Raphael, the Ninja Turtle, because no one would teach it to me when I was taking Taekwondo. So I learned it from him. Now, the thing is, there are some kicks you will never be able to use in an actual street fight. And you need to know that before you think you can go out there and do that. There are plenty of kicks in tournaments that you can use in tournaments. I don't recommend them in street fights, because a street fight has no rules. And if you miss, you're dust. So understand, you're in a street fight, stick with basics. You're in a tournament, go all out. But be very careful on going all out, because going all out can get you hurt. Now, you want to win, stick with basics. You want to show off, go all out. But always remember, there's a consequence with going all out. Always remember, there will always be consequences to your actions in martial arts. Now let's get back on that topic at hand of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and regular Jiu-Jitsu. Alright, now, again, both are sports. Both have been put to the forefront as of lately, because there are a lot of people who do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There are a fuck ton of people who also do jujitsu. And if you're doing both, congratulations, because you're going to be a badass. But I will tell you that for all medicinal purposes, the video that I am feeding off of, you will not use Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in a street fight unless you can get the guy on the ground. Now, you can use regular Jiu Jitsu in a street fight, but that's really just going to be a bunch of grappling and locks. But you're in a fight. No one's going to try to tap out in a fight. They're going to keep fighting. Understand that shit. If you're going to use Jiu Jitsu in a fight, they're not going to stop. You got them. Yeah, you got them. But can you hold them? And then you got to realize, is this person going to sacrifice an arm to beat my ass? Because if you're in a street fight, it doesn't stop until someone's knocked out or the police arrive or somebody breaks up the fight. All right? When you're in a sporting event, when you're doing any sporting martial art whatsoever, you have a referee there. The referee is going to stop the fight. If you're in the UFC, the referee is going to stop the fight. If you're in a tournament where you're padded up or whatever, the referee is going to stop the fight. It's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. The referee will stop the fight if it gets out of hand, and there will be no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But when you're out in the street, as the video and the guy whose name I can't fucking mention right now, but if you go to my fucking video thingy-majig, it's like the last 3 videos I made today. So, minus the child. If you go to them, you can click on him, click on my duet, and then click on the part with him in it, and he'll tell you about boxing, fuck was it? I think he said Sambo, Taekwondo, MMA. I'm missing one, but he mentioned it. And I agree with him on that because the simple fact that he said, you should probably never let the fight go to the ground. But that's me. You should never let the fight go to the ground. But if it does, you need to be well-rounded enough that you can save your ass when you're getting your ass handed to you while you're on the ground. Now, if you're on the ground and this guy's using BJJ on you, he needs to remember he needs to choke you out. He can't be trying to tap you out because it's a fucking street fight. And no one's going to tap in the street. Alright? Understand that. No one's going to tap in the street. If you get somebody to tap in the street, well, give them mercy and let them go. Do not trust them, but you can let them go. I, on the other hand, no, fuck that shit. If I got you on the ground, you're done. It's just that simple. You're done. If you pass out, then I will let you go. But if you don't pass out, then no, I am not letting you go. I don't know if that worked. Hello, Donna. I tried to get you on. I don't know if it worked or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Well, it says that I invited you. I don't know why the box hasn't opened up. But anyway, learning certain rules in fighting is going to either help you or hurt you. And this is something that you need to know if you happen to actually get into a fight. So I'm going to give you my specific number 1 rule. This applies to all fighting skills and all styles, and if anybody wants to contest that, that's fine. But in the long run, you're going to figure out that I am right. Deal with it. If a person cannot breathe, they cannot bring physical harm to you. Understand there are 4 ways to stop the breath from continuing if you are in said a fight. The number 1 way is to stop it from the throat. I should probably not be preaching this, but I'm already here. So punching someone in the throat should collapse the windpipe. Collapsing the windpipe shuts down the body. Punching someone in the sternum, because your liver, your lungs, and everything that involves you breathing is right here. I like to call this KZ number 2. This is KZ number 1. We will not use what the word K means, but we can all spell it K-I-L-L. Zone, Z-O-N-E. Now, the trick is getting to them. But same for the front, works in the back. The problem with it going from the back is that you have this thing in the middle that's blocking and protecting them called the spine as well as the rib cage. It's easier to get them in the front. And because most times when you get into a fight, you're facing each other. Alright? Now, if that guy overshoots the mark and you got all of this, Then you have ribs that you can work on. You have kidneys you can work on. And if it's on the right side, you have kidneys, you have a liver, you have a lot of things, and you have ribs. You have a lot of things to work with. So depending on what you're taught, who you're taught by, and what you have actually been practicing, because if you're not practicing, you're not going to know how to use it when you need it. All right? You have to know how to cover up. This is only a base way of covering up, because you can block with this cover. If you're doing Kempo, you can block and strike with this cover, because that's a strike as well. Now that strike specifically is for metacarpals. So boom, you're gonna strike down, and you're gonna try to hit this when they're throwing a jab. Do I recommend that? Hell no, because if you've just started learning martial arts, that's a good way to lower your guard and get caught. So you don't want that. So you just want to keep your standard until you've had enough practice at that shit. And again, if you have a good partner, first wear gloves, because your hands are the easiest things to break on the human body. And for all martial artists who are not teaching that, you know better. You can break your hand hitting someone. So you need to teach them how to throw the punch properly. You put just enough power behind that hit so that they know they've been hit. You don't throw everything you have with that hit, because if you miss or you hit like they got a glass jaw, you good. They got a steel jaw, you not good, because you can break your hand. Alright? And then if y'all watch enough of these videos, you have people going around, they punching bricks and they punching trees and stuff. Alright, two things I'm against that for. Because one, they're not teaching you, do this at your own risk. Because I just said, this shit right here, easiest shit to break. Yeah, you look at people and they got deformed knuckles. Like, I don't have deformed knuckles because I don't go around breaking boards and bricks and shit. Now, here's why I piss off martial artists. That shit ain't got a damn thing to do with martial arts. That was an American thing, all right? That is an American thing. It is a system of control. It's the same thing as belts. That shit is a system of control. Now, I'm going to get a lot of shit, and no, I do not have a black belt, but I've laid a lot of black belts on the ground, okay? So, because your belt makes you cocky. Don't get cocky because you have a black belt. Don't do that. That will get you hurt really, really quickly. Understand? I'm here to give you truths. I'm not here to lead you into some false courage, because a lot of people, they get a black belt. You might be the baddest guy in your class. You might be the baddest guy in your school. You might have surpassed your sensei. And you might walk out that door and catch the beating of your life, because someone just like me, who has actually been fighting in the streets with the shit that I know since I was 6 years old. Okay? Never got a professional fight, because when they see somebody as 5'3", 120 pounds, and it's like, now, you're not what we're looking for. There's a reason why Wing Chun was so deadly. Because they did not think that she could do shit. Because she was like 5'1". I might be wrong on her height, but I know she was every bit of maybe 100 pounds. But this was probably average back then for her in Chinese culture, because Chinese women were fairly short back then. Chinese men were fairly short back then. It just depended on the region that they were living in at the time. The average height in Wing Chun's era for Chinese men were 6 foot. And they were considered unique. But Wing Chun herself was between 5'1" and 5'3". But her martial art, which my shit is based on, is for little people to severely injure big people. I'm wording it very carefully, people, just in case. But since I was talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Jiu-Jitsu, I'm going to get right back on that. I'm sorry, when I get into martial arts, I go... It's like a star in flight, man, and it's hard to stay on one topic. Especially when people don't understand how martial arts actually work. Okay? Now, if you are on your back, so this is my back. Ah, damn it, I hit the camera. If you're on your back and they're laying across you, they are on side mount. If they're laying over you this way, they are on top mount or top guard. Side mount or side guard, that means they're trying to get your arm. So if they have this arm and they're going this way, they're going to have you do this. So you can lock your arm like so, while the person who's trying to grab this arm is going to get both his hands on your arm. He's going to slide his legs over this arm and put both of them, one behind you, one over you. Maybe both of them are going to go across. It just depends on who's doing it. and depends on who's their trained. If they have one leg under your head and one leg over here, they have some wrestling experience, so they probably are going to do some wrestling stuff to get you in a lock, you know. And I don't know if this thing's gonna let you guys in or not. But if they have a foot under your head, they're more than likely gonna choke you with their ankles while they're trying to break your arm. Alright? But if they have both legs going across your chest and your neck and they're trying to hyperextend your arm, they don't. If you watch these freaking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu videos, they don't teach you how to escape that shit. So, I'm going to tell you what you need to do. When your arm is locked like this, you're going to be in the fetal position, which I can't do right here. Or can I? 1 second. Ah, these damn things are dirty as hell. Yep, they're dirty as hell. Let's get started. Okay, I stand corrected. This tarp is fairly dirty. You find the least dirtiest spots. Let's angle y'all over here. Hopefully y'all can see me. And we're gonna angle you. The little thing's gonna be in the way. Alright, so I'm about to get on my back. I do not have a training partner, so you're gonna have to use your imagination. Person is trying to take your arm, and they're gonna pull it this way. They're gonna put both of their legs across your body. I don't think this damn computer can see me. Aim the camera down a little bit. Alright, one more time. You're like this, you're gonna be in the fetal position. Their body's over here. You're fighting to keep your arm. This knee should be kneeing the shit out of the person that's trying to take your arm. Because they're on you this way. This is an ass shot, I'm sorry. And they're laying across your body this way. And they're trying to take your arm. So what they're going to do is, this leg's going to go through, this leg's going to go through, and they have your arm. So your dumb ass is not allowed to do that. They got you right here, which means they got your arm. They're over here. You're bent like this because you're trying to keep the weight, because they're coming across. When they're right here and they come across to grab this arm and they're fighting to break your lock, this knee or this knee should be ramming into their ass. And I gotta take a phone call. What is it?
I don't know how Becca or Omar would get home. Both Becca's cars are home unless she walks Old Lynchburg Road and get it, unless she found a friend to pick her up. I guess I'll leave it to her way. She's gonna call you, call Stacy, or call me.
Well, you better make that call because I'm on the phone right now, like making a video, and you're interrupting it. I'm also doing a recording.
She'll call you. Somebody will call you because I'm gonna be at the hospital and she's gonna turn around and walk back out, and then I gotta go on to work.
Whatever.
All right, bye.
Bye. I hope the live's still going. Okay, the live is still going. Alright, so when y'all watch Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I want y'all to remember that fetal position. And I want y'all to remember to knee people in the freaking head, body, whatever he can get. This is the part about having a training partner or a punching bag that you need to have when someone's doing a proper demonstration. I don't have either, so I can't do a proper demonstration. But basically, damn it. Basically, they're laying across your chest. And they're going to put their legs and they're going to pull this arm. If you are stupid enough to allow that to continue, you deserve to tap out. Alright? Now, I don't know if it's rules against you kneeing them in the body, but because they're pulling, Their body's on your body. This is your target. If their right is to your legs, this is your target. If their left is to your legs, whichever side of their body is closest to your legs, that is what you need to do. I have no idea if that damn camera saw that, so let me go over here. This is your target. If their left is closer to your knees, this is their target. If their right is closer to your knees. I had to double do that just in case, because, you know, stuff. Anyway, I'm going to be ending this live soon because of that phone call, so shit's probably going to go wrong really, really soon. So, that being said, you have to learn that you need to learn how to escape. You need to be able to be taught how to escape. So if you are taking martial arts, or if you are a martial artist and you are watching, please start teaching people how to escape arm bars and shit from the ground. Because that I was trying to demonstrate was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Where standing Jiu-Jitsu, I got to get you down, but I will be able to do the same shit if I can get you down. That is the whole thing. I have to be able to get you down. And you defending yourself or in training mode, your job is not to let me do that. Now, if we're going through the motions because we're new at this game and we're going to work with each other so we can actually know how to apply the moves, that's different because you're gonna be partnered up, and the sensei's gonna walk around. He's gonna make sure you guys are doing the shit right. If your sensei partners you up and he doesn't go around and making sure you're doing the shit right, he sucks. Okay? And they got to make sure that they get the worst students compared to the best students. And the reason why I say that is because you're paying this person a service. If you're paying someone hundreds of dollars a month for them to teach you how to defend yourself, then damn it, you need to be able to defend yourself, not just in the dojo, but out in life. Now again, your outfit is going to be part of the fight when you're in the streets versus when you're training. When you train in a gi, you get used to being in a gi. So, first off, in the dojo, train in the gi. At home, train in your casual. Because you spend roughly 4 or 5 days a week in the gi in the school. You spend the bulk of your life in your casual wear. And if you are ever going to be attacked, it's going to be in your casual wear. It's not going to be in a gi. You're not going to be attacked in the dojo. Because only an idiot will dojo storm you knowing that you are in a room with a brotherhood of people who also train the same way you train. They're not going to let anybody happen to you. They might bully you while they're in there because it's all part of the game. But they're not going to let anybody from outside that dojo lay a hand on you if they're truly martial artists. And more importantly, if they're truly your friends, they're not going to let anybody in that dojo put a fucking hand on you. Or at least that's the way it was when I was younger. But I've never had that happen, so I don't have to worry about it. But that's just the code of dojos. But you need to learn how to escape. You need to learn how to get shit to the point where, God damn it, I don't know why I can't invite people. You need to understand that when you are in a dojo, it's 70-30. 70% of what you learn will only work in that dojo, and 30% will only work outside. Now, your job is to learn how to get both of them to be the whole 100 so that it works in the dojo and out the dojo. And that is the hard part. You have to really be dedicated to your art for that. You also have to know how to adapt. Adapting for martial arts is very fucking important. If you don't know how to adapt, you are going to get clapped. Understand that shit. And I don't mean with a firearm. I just mean you're going to come across that person who is well skilled. Which is why I said what I said about black belts. Because a lot of people who have black belts, this is how they earned it. We are going to do a kata. We are going to break a board. We are going to break a brick. We are going to choreograph a fight scene that looks fucking cool as shit with realistic scenarios. Alright? And that's fine and dandy and all, but then when you get outside, if you have not been training, other than in that dojo, you're going to find out real quick that that black belt is just a black belt. That's all it is. I have a brown belt on right now. Doesn't mean anything. However, this brown belt has a metal buckle, which has become a weapon if necessary. Understand that if you're trained properly, you are never unarmed even when you have no weapon at all. You know? And like I said, you have to be trained properly. A lot of people They train you, they take your money, and they half-ass train you. They don't invest in you, they just invest in your wallet, and you need to be aware of that shit. I'm probably pissing off every martial artist that's watching this right now, especially if they have a dojo, because I don't have a dojo. But my problem is I never wanted a dojo. I never joined martial arts so I could get a belt. I joined martial arts because I had to learn how to fight people bigger than me because my uncles forced me to do so. And I had to win. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We did not raise losers here. We raised brutality and brutality and brutality. If you fail, we destroy you. Just that alone was the fear tactic needed to make me not fear people bigger than me. Now, I've never been afraid of anybody bigger than me because everybody's bigger than me. All right? And once you accept that, that part of fear goes away. There will always be a little. There will always be a little, and you will always need it. All right? And here's why I tell you that. A little bit of fear goes a long way if it's the right fear. If it's the wrong fear and your fight, flight, or freeze instincts kick in, you either want flight or fight. You do not want freeze. Freeze ends lives. Understand that. Now the trick is you have to train yourself not to freeze. All right? And that's not going to be easy. That is never going to be easy, and everybody's going to be intimidating. Everybody. No matter what you have been taught, no matter what you've learned, the shit hit the fan, intimidation is there. And a lot of people win fights by pure intimidation. You look at them, they look at you, you get exceptionally scared, and you wise the fuck up, and you're like, nope, I'm not fucking with that guy. Now here's the disadvantage of being me. No one sees that when they see me. They see a little tiny guy that they can just throw around. I like it like that. Because if I'm not intimidating, you don't know how dangerous I actually am. And that puts one up on me because most people underestimate a small person as soon as they see them. And this is for all you martial artists that believe this size matters. No, it don't. Fighting experience and skill matters. I've laid black belts down on the ground plenty of times because they were bigger than me and they thought they were badasses. So don't let the size be a factor. Alright? It's going to be in your head. And like I said, nobody knows how good they are until they take one to the face. Yeah, especially you guys who are just getting started. You know how good you are until you take one to the face. Once you take one to the face, your recovery will decide if you can continue or if someone's going to pommel your shit. You know? So it pays to know how to cover up. It pays to know how to throw that punch out properly. It pays to know how to block and strike. It pays to know how to punch and counter. It pays to know how to kick and counter. So I'm going to give you this piece of advice for fighting a lie. Be well-rounded. Any martial art that you are interested in, take it. You don't have to take it for 15 years. You don't have to take it for 20 years. I mean, you can, because if you really love it, you probably will. But if you get well-rounded in more than one martial art, I do Kung Fu, but my Kung Fu is not unique to just Kung Fu. I don't do Shaolin Northern or Southern because I can't remember which one does kicks. One is all about hands and one is all about feet. I have learned a little bit of it, just enough that I can beat somebody's ass when I recognize that's what they're doing. I have taken Drunken Master. I know a few animal styles. I don't know every form of the animal style, but I know enough of the animal style that if you whipped out and start doing dragon, I can match you. Versus if you whip out and start doing tiger, I can match you. Snake, see the mouth. Crane, no mouth. Alright? Now, I may have gotten those confused for all I know. The crane might be the one with the mouth. The snake might be the one without the mouth. But how many times have you heard of cranes actually attacking people? Snakes bite. Cranes peck. You know, those are ways to remember that. Tigers and dragons have claws, and they both scratch. Eagles have claws or talons. They swoop in. So you need to understand how these animal styles work. You know, and the thing, horse fists, you have to understand how all these things work as you are learning them so that you can apply them. And then you have to understand the size of a person means this much to me. It will mean different things to everybody else. So, as I said before, and I'll say again, first, be well-rounded. Second, if a person can't breathe, it doesn't matter how big they are. So cut off the breath. A lot of people, when they teach you boxing, they teach you primarily, you go for the largest targets, torso and head. They forget to teach you that if someone has a glass jaw, they go to sleep. So you can hit them and put them to sleep with one good hit. What they don't teach you is, if you have a steel jaw, you gotta work that chin, and you gotta really work that chin. But if they got a steel chin, they may have a weaker body. Same thing with a person who has a glass jaw. They may have a stronger body, and they may not have a chin. But 9 times out of 10, when you are being trained, you are gonna learn your weaknesses real fucking quick. Understand that shit. The first time you get tagged in the face when you being trained in fighting of any style and you go down, you know, if that was like a light hit, if that was a light hit and you just go down, you're gonna know you got a glass jaw. You're gonna know you're gonna need to work on that jaw. They're gonna like recommend probably chewing gum, having a good mouthpiece wouldn't hurt, but that mouthpiece is only to protect your teeth. It does not protect you from pain. I understand that shit. A mouthpiece is to keep you from getting your teeth knocked the fuck out. It does not protect you from pain. You are going to get hit. You are going to feel pain. That mouthpiece will not protect you. I understand it protects your teeth. Nothing more. Just your teeth. Now, how do you build up from a glass jaw to a steel jaw? Not like this, but they do have mouth exercise. A lot of retired guys tell you just chew fucking big ass wads of gum. But they have a device now. I don't know the name of it. They advertise it. If you're up late enough, I don't sleep much. If you're up late enough, they have a device where you just chew on it all damn day. And it builds your jaw muscles. And it tightens up. So it tightens up. In certain martial arts, they teach you how to exhale to tighten up your belly when you get hit. So the problem with that is, if someone's throwing rapid kicks at you, you can't exhale every freaking time. Which is why blocking is good. You know? But when you can't block that exhale, that tighten up is going to help you when you ran out of blocks. And you will run out of blocks. It just depends on who you're fighting. Also depends on the style that they're using. If they're doing Taekwondo and they're doing those rapid fire kicks, you can block for a little bit, but if you miss one, you're going to catch one. So you don't want to catch that shit, and if you do, you need to know how to protect. This is why you have to invest in your students. You have to tell them the truth about fighting. You have to tell them that getting hit fucking sucks. You also have to tell them that, hey, learn to block. Learn to block from every angle. Here, twist, block. Learn to block. When I first started learning Taekwondo, I had to try to unlearn what I learned from karate and kung fu. And that was not easy because you cannot unlearn shit. You can adapt. You know, I like my kung fu blocks better than my karate blocks. And Taekwondo blocks are the exact same damn thing. They really are. You just gotta learn. You gotta pay attention to the shit. You know, any block that comes, like if a strike's coming down, that's about the only time you're gonna use these karate blocks, where you basically just want to keep this block. If they're throwing a jab, boom, you know, you can strike it. That's a Kenpo block and strike. Or you can just bat it away. That could be Kung Fu. When you bat it and then you strike, bat it and then you strike, you know, it's just on who's teaching you what. You know, and all martial arts have some semblance of familiarity, and you just have to figure it out. But again, do not ground yourself in one style. If you want to take a martial art, and I know it's a sport, but it's still a martial art, then you want to take MMA. But don't take MMA initially under the MMA brand. The best way to do this is to go to a Taekwondo school first, then go to a karate school, and then go to a Kung Fu school, and then you have the big three. And the reason I call it the big three, Korea is from, goddamn it, Taekwondo is from Korea, karate is from Japan, Kung Fu is from China. Those are your big three. However, there are other countries that have martial arts. You may want to take a little dabble in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Capoeira. Both of them are from Brazil. Lambada is the same thing as Capoeira, it's just from Jamaica. They've probably changed the name all the way to Capoeira now, because last time I checked, no one's ever heard of Lambada. And I said Lambada, not Lambada. Lambada is dance. Capoeira is dance, but Capoeira is dancing with a foot in your mouth if you're not careful. Now, there are other martial arts. I do not know Kali, that came from the Philippines. I do not know Sistema. I think that's from Indonesia. I do not know Salat. I'm pretty sure that's from Indonesia or Malaysia. It's from one of the countries that's not in the big three. But now, before I end, you need to understand this. For those who are Batman fans, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to piss you off. There are far more than 127 martial arts. Okay? There are thousands of martial arts. There are like thousands of different styles of Kung Fu. There are thousands of different styles of Kenpo. There are thousands of different styles of Taekwondo. There are thousands of different styles of karate. And the reason why I can tell you this is because every time a teacher gets a student who graduates and becomes a sensei, that teacher that just graduated and became a teacher will change what he learned to work for him as he teaches you. This is an adapted form. Every martial art adapts, every martial art evolves. So for you to just say, I'm doing traditional kung fu, if you are not in a traditional school in China, you are not doing traditional kung fu. Understand that shit. If you want to do traditional kung fu, you need to go to a Chinese monastery. It's going to be Shaolin, but you're going to have to do that, because if you don't, you're not doing traditional kung fu. And if you're doing it from America, you're doing an Americanized version of kung fu. Like myself, I'm doing an Americanized version of Wing Chun and other Chinese kung fus. Now, basically what I've done is I put all my kung fu, my karate, my taekwondo, all that shit into one conglomerate clusterfuck, which is what I do. All right? I have not given it a name. I debated with street kung fu for a while, and they're saying, that sounds a little violent. No one's going to want to come to a street kung fu school. So, it just all depends on how it is perceived. So I just say I just do kung fu. And technically, kung fu does not mean what people think, okay? Because kung fu, it technically means like master of something, but not the actual martial art. Kung fu was easier for people to pronounce. But wushu is kind of an offset of kung fu. Wing Chun is a form of kung fu, but again, kung fu is how they just roughly translated it. But kung fu actually is gung fu, Gungfu. All right, so it's kind of more of that. I actually do more gung fu versus kung fu, but I call it kung fu because it's easier for somebody to say, "Oh, this is kung fu," versus, "Oh, what the hell's that spell?" G-U-N-G. Kung fu. It's the same shit. But people don't understand how to say it, so they just put kung fu here because it makes it easier. It's easier to translate than if you tell somebody you do kung fu versus telling them you do gung fu or Wing Chun or wushu or other animal styles like tiger, dragon, eagle, snake, crane. You can tell them you do animal styles, and they're still going to be like, animal styles of what? So if you just say, I do animal kung fu, I do drunken master kung fu, I do drunken monkey kung fu. Yes, there is a drunken monkey. Yes, I know a little bit of it. It's the same damn thing as drunken master, only you kind of act like a fucking monkey. It's easier to see it than it is to actually explain it, okay? But you want to be well-rounded in every martial art you can possibly find. And the reason why I say this is because you don't know what you're doing when you go against somebody. If they break into a straight stance, it's high chance that they know boxing. But if they start working around and doing stuff, they're either about to do some drunken master or some drunken monkey. If they start doing capoeira, you need to recognize what you're about to go against. And you also need to know what style combats that shit. Alright? Because if you don't know capoeira, you're going to learn capoeira. You might learn it at that business end of it, but you're going to learn it. So you need to understand. And this is your assignment for tonight, so I can end the live. Because I'm probably going to have to go pick somebody up. This is your assignment for tonight if you're here. If you're still here. Because I think I see like maybe 10 people. Anyway, if you're here, if this comes across your FYP, your assignment for tonight is to take and look at a video of Brazilian capoeira. And then look at a movie called Drunken Master with Jackie Chan. So you can see how the waist operates. And so you can see how capoeira operates. Because for me, if someone does capoeira, I'm going to do Drunken Master. Only because I'm not really good with capoeira. I know enough capoeira that I can hold my own. I'm probably still going to get my ass kicked, but I can hold my own. But if I want to win, I'm not going to beat him at his game. I have to beat the style. And if I can't beat the style, I'll have to switch styles so that I can beat the competitor. Okay? Hopefully that made some sense. Hopefully I taught you guys something. Thank you for watching. If you missed anything, give me about an hour because I got to unplug all this shit and then take it back in the house and replug it all up. And then I will be posting the Kung Fu Habit video. So hopefully this thing got me. I'm not going to swear to it. If anything, it's got all the audio. And it probably got the one thing with me on the ground. And hopefully I don't have a tick because I was laying on the ground. That being said, I am Echo Fan Grey Wolf. Thank you all for giving me your time. And now for you, for here on Kung Fu Hat. God, I looked crazy right there. For you all on YouTube, I want you to understand one thing. If you don't understand anything else, you need to be well-rounded in martial arts for a reason. All right. I believe I gave you the reason a second ago, but if you missed it, in case you don't understand something, fighting, rather it be for sport or fighting for your life, or you're trying to protect yourself or defend yourself or whatever construct you use to get you through the day. Fighting is not a game. It is a way of life, and you better learn the ropes quick, fast, and in a hurry. You better learn that you, the human being, is the ultimate weapon. However, there will be people who have weapons and have more weapon skills with their weapon than without. So I'm going to make one more video, and then I'm going to end this, and then I'll go upstairs and do what I need to do to publish this thing. If you're watching this, then that's already happened.